In order to bypass my usual fear of putting too many uhs and ums in my public speaking, I've decided at the entrance of this episode to get them all out of the way. Uh, um, uh, um, uh.
Back to the Uncultured Pop Culture Podcast. This is David, as usual, joined by the co-host,
Brandon, as usual, co-pilot. And we have a special guest here today. As you may have noticed from the intro, we have Mr. Dante himself, friend of the show.
Hi, it's me, friend of the show, Dante.
I was gonna ask you to introduce yourself to the people.
Fuck.
Okay, that's staying in now, unfortunately.
I did want to say, before you introduce yourself, I think after that intro, we do need to W the guy.
The guy? That's fine. I hope I disprove that title by the end of the episode. I'm giving myself 5 for grace. 5 ums.
I'm going to cut them all out anyway, so people don't even need to know. As far as they knew, you weren't going to say at all, but unfortunately you just did, and I do have to keep it in now. So
I keep it real with the audience. I don't like to lie.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a good person that way.
So Dante, you're here. You've made it to the Uncultured Pop Culture Podcast. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you like and anything like that.
Well, my name's Dante. I'm quite disturbed and actually deeply offended that I was not the first guest on this show. Instead, you both either brought a very close friend of many years or your partner, which I think is inadmissible. I think I probably should have been first, considering I was your #1 fan on Spotify this year. Not to brag, I think that might be my most important personal fact. It's that I was 0.0001% of your fans.
Nice.
In my 2025 Wrapped. I've listened to almost every episode.
Almost.
Painstakingly.
Painstakingly?
Painstakingly, even through the worst shifts of my life, I've kept your episode on. I've only missed the Exorcist portion of that episode. I've not heard the Exorcist part. And I just haven't gone back. Every time I go back, there's a new episode out, so I just watch that instead.
Ironic, considering that that's one of the conversations we retouch the most. Pretty much because there's guns in it.
The Exorcist?
Oh, yeah. The Exorcist is crazy.
You guys inspired me to watch it, actually. For Halloween, I turned it on, and then I stopped about halfway through. So I guess I have to finish your episode and then finish the movie.
I did want to ask you, though, as we do with all of our guests that come on, would you explain your rating system for movies and for music? Because I'm sure we will be talking about that today.
I used to be very harsh.
Like me?
Yes. Very picky choosy. Because I think this all stems from a bit of self-hatred, to be honest. But I thought that if you're not giving it your all and it's not a great, terrific product of art, then you're like a failure loser son of a bitch. But now I don't know. Something shifted within me this last summer or whatever. And now I can't give anything lower than like a 3.
Oh.
I have to appreciate the effort that's gone into it at some level. And I think that's especially true for these 2 projects. They're like 2 of my favorite things in the world. So it's going to be hard to rate it anything lower than a pretty good score. I think next time, if you do have me back on, I'll pick stuff I hate. Like I don't find that any effort went into this at all and no one had any love for it. And then it'll probably be lower.
Is there anything, like any specific average score you give to things? Or like, are you pretty heavily skewed positively? I know you said that with recently that it's been more positive, but are you like like where would the average thing, I guess, sit for you? Because my average is 2.5. I think David's average would be more like a 3.5.
I'm on David's
Okay.
level, 3.5.
Sounds good. So you're going to be pretty positive today.
Yeah, I'm a positive, happy guy.
I figured you would be because I assume you like both of these things, considering that you said they were two of your favorite things ever. But we'll talk about that later, because before we talk about that, we have to talk about the eternal question. I'm going to start with David. David, what have you watched this past week?
It's actually very ironic considering that last week we had the bonus episode where I talked about my top 10 movies of the year, because I finally saw Hamnet, and it would have been up there. It would have been number 2 on that list.
Dang.
So I am very freaking annoyed, but that's life. What can I do about it? But yeah, it's very good. I think everyone should go and try and catch it in theaters while they can. I know it's showing, or it might still be in theaters. Obviously, we're recording this a little bit early. So as of this moment, while we're recording, it just came out. But I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters. But if you can, go watch it. And I feel like it's going to be a front runner at the Oscars.
Or you can stay home, because I thought it was mid.
Ooh,
okay.
I thought it was mid, David. I watched it last year.
What?
For a test screening. I watched it last autumn.
That makes sense.
And I was like, #snooze fest.
Ooh, okay. I want you to watch the finished version though, because maybe it's different.
Is it though?
You never know.
what did you rate it?
You never know.
What did you rate it?
What did you rate it?
I think I gave it a 3, because I do respect the filmmaking craft that went into it. But it's like, what does Spike Lee say? Not my cup of tea. It's like that. It's just, I don't know. I went with Kaylee, actually. She really liked it. She cried.
I mean, I get it. Okay, I will admit I cried too. But I get it because it didn't fully get me until a moment in the third act. So I think up until that moment I was on board, but I wasn't fully there. And then that moment happened and I was like, oh, I'm on board now. So I kind of get it.
I have no idea what it's about, so I can't say if I would have cried or not.
Replace the N with an L.
Oh, okay.
It's about the actual William Shakespeare.
Oh, that's boring.
And his inspiration behind writing Hamlet.
Damn. All right, cool. Well, I successfully completed an English degree without ever reading Shakespeare, so that really doesn't affect me, and that kind of tells you
That's
how much
crazy.
I value his input.
Paul Mescal, he's losing me. He had me with After Sun, and that got a lot of good grace, but I haven't seen him in anything since, including Normal People, that I was like, this guy has it. He has the sauce.
I really liked him in Normal People. He was also good in All of Us Strangers, which I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I gotta watch that one.
Although I will admit I haven't seen him in anything else, so I don't know.
Gladiator 2?
I saw part of it. I was very bored.
I saw him in After Sun. Yay.
I do think that's his best role.
Who cares about Paul Matt? No, I'm kidding.
That being said, I'm going to throw this over to you, Brandon, before we get to you, Dante, and ask you, what have you been listening to this past week?
So, as you know, we had our top 10 episode. We had our top 1 episode. So that means the new year has started. And David, I have to tell you, first week of the new tracking period, I got a 4 out of 5 album already.
Ooh.
It's called Emo by Misagi. I did not know this was coming out. I think that's how you say his name. I don't really know. He's British. Shout out Great Britain. It is very weird. It is like rage music, kind of. But that's the genre. So it's got hip hop influences. It's got it's loud. That's the best way I can describe it. It's abrasive. You would hate it, essentially. But I really liked it. So it has made my top 10 in the number 1 spot because it's a 4 out of 5, which means it automatically makes it. And yeah, it was very good. And I highly recommend. It was a surprise release that I didn't know was happening. And he released 7 of the 8 songs as singles in the week leading up to the album, which was kind of cool. And he also, on his Instagram, made his Instagram into a Bitcoin scam account and was posting about how it was hacked. And that was promotion for the album. It was very weird. And I've never seen anyone do that, but I love it.
That's pretty cool.
I want to do that now.
It's crazy how many of those songs were singles. I've never seen that before.
Oh, just wait until we cover. There's a few albums where they're 15 songs long and they released every single one as a single. So we'll get there someday. But I also have a song, which also ties into last week's episode. This song is called Afterthought by the band Camino. They've been teasing this song for like 3 years. They ended up like re-recording it because it sounded too similar to a country song, which I didn't even know the lore behind that. But it finally came out, and it's probably going to be on an album that's coming out this year, 2026. And I'm very excited. It seems to be a double album with the album we just listened to last week. But I must say, very impressed. This is one of my favorite songs of their career. So yeah, check that out. And we'll probably be listening to it again at some point in the year if their next album is as good as the album we just listened to. And with that, I'd like to throw it over to Dante. What have you watched and or listened to in your life? How many ever days you want to choose?
Oh, in life. Well, I'll follow your guys' example. I do the last 7 days. I watched Shame by Steve McQueen. I have not stopped thinking about Shame by Steve McQueen since I watched it about a week ago. It was kind of an impulse watch. It's on HBO Max if anyone's interested, but it is such a, I don't want to say disgusting because that doesn't really do it a service, but highly disturbing sexual drama. It's about this man named Brandon, actually.
Classic. Is he white?
He's Michael Fassbender.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. Tracks.
Yeah, he has like a sex addiction, porn addiction, and you kind of don't know why in the beginning. He's obviously had a very nice job. He has a nice apartment in the city, but his sister, played by Carey Mulligan, comes into town, and that kind of screws up whatever balance he has in his life because she's a very destructive force, and you come to understand why he's so controlled and why she's so destructive. It's from the same thing. But it gets pretty disturbing. So for those with conniptions about, I don't know, incest and pornography and nude, anything, everything, probably not a watch, but it's just a very sad movie.
That's what I heard. That's what I've heard.
It's worth a watch. It's very quick. It's like an hour 50.
I've been wanting to watch it.
And what have you listened to in the past week?
I've been listening to a lot of Clarion. I don't know if that's how you pronounce their name, but I was recommended their song Hello Juliet on Spotify, and great band. I don't know much about them.
I've never heard of them. And what does their music sound like?
Very thrashy, angry indie rock. I tend to like female singers for that kind of music, and
I agree.
The front woman for Clarion is very talented.
Nice.
It's like the opposite of the brown note, that note that makes you shit yourself.
Oh, okay,
It
cool.
makes you feel like euphoric. Is that a good analogy?
Have you ever experienced the brown note?
The brown note? No, I'm waiting for it.
Okay.
It's like I'm waiting to be walking on the street and to have like the government weaponize the brown note against me, as I'm not expecting it.
I was literally talking to my dad about this the other day of like those like sonic weapons, and I was like, I feel like I can just hear things like way better than everyone else. And I've always been that way my whole life. And I'm kind of like, I wonder if I could hear a sonic weapon before other people and be like used as like a pawn for the military. So anyway,
Everybody, you're going to shit yourself now.
yeah,
Run.
like 3 seconds before it happens. But yeah,
You're like a bird feeling a thunderstorm coming.
exactly. I feel it in my bones.
That's cool. Well, you're going to feel it in your bone. That sonic weapon's going to tear you apart.
Yeah, exactly. But on that note, I think it's time for us to get into the episode, because today we're going to be talking about Swimmer by Tennis.
Yes.
A band that I've never heard about.
I'm going to ask you that in a second.
Or do Okay, I'll take it back.
So this is our album this week. I just have a little bit of background here, and then Dante, I'm going to throw it over to you and let you kind of preview the album however you want to before we get into the track by track. But this is Swimmer. This is their 5th album, released February 14th, 2020 by their own independent label, Mutually Detrimental, which I gotta say, never heard of it. Great name for a label. And Tennis is a duo of Elena Moore and Patrick Riley. They're from Denver. And all songs on the album are written and produced by them. It's mixed by Claudius Mittendorfer, mastered by Joe Laporta, who also mastered Whitney and Snail Mail's albums that we did on the podcast. Before I ask Dante how you discovered them, I would like to ask David, have you ever heard of Tennis? Because I have not.
Literally never. I walked into this album totally blind. I didn't even know like what the genre was, and I won't say what I thought yet, but I was totally blind.
Nice. And now, Dante, I want to ask, how did you discover Tennis, and how did you discover this album?
Well, like most great art, I discovered it through the algorithm. Spotify recommended it in like 2022. I listened to it on a whim, and it blew me away. I usually hate music. It's like the worst thing ever. I hate movies. I hate TV. I hate music. I hate art. I hate all that stuff.
You're the positive guest right now.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna try keep up that pretense, but I'm actually a disgusting, terrible, and horrible person, and I hate all these things. I'm like,
Gee, I wonder why you watch Shame.
I know. He was watching porn and like angrily jerking off. I was like, okay, so this is like how people see the Joker, Taxi Driver.
Nice.
It's like my incel media. But I'd never heard, I guess, music like that. Such a beautiful, raw source of love. I really find love to be a hard concept to capture in art. Yeah, I think you see it most in paintings, arguably. I find it hard to see in most movies, even though most romance movies will argue to the contrary that they are quite loving. I never really see it. It's like down to the bare bones. It's always like you're watching the honeymoon stage on the silver screen and not the actual parts of love, like the commitment and the arguments and that loyalty to each other. But this album did. It was the first time I'd really listened to a whole thing and just felt it never wavered from that theme or from that mission. And it kind of makes sense. Looking into the background of this album, is it was written for their 10th anniversary of being married. And I think each song is a reflection of that. So Elena wrote in her, she actually wrote the Genius annotations and a little bio for each of the songs, which is nice. I love when bands do that. She wrote, I set out to describe the love I have come to know after 10 years of marriage, when you can no longer remember your life before that person, when the spark of early attraction has been replaced by a gravitational pull. I think that is a beautiful poetry that reflects in her music as well. That is just a perfect encapsulation of this album.
I wanted to ask you, do you know other albums by Tennis as well? Because it sounds like this was the first one you listened to. Did you go back and listen to the other stuff, or are you like me and you just listen to the few things that you like and then forget to ever check out anything else?
I am almost 99.9% of the time that's what happens. I usually listen to something else. I'm like, I don't like this anymore. Like, it's not as good as what I fell in love with. But I actually think they're one of the few indie bands that have only improved as they've gone on. I like each of the new albums more and more. Like their new one, Face Down in the Garden, I thought was so much more complex musically than Swimmer. And I love Swimmer. It's my favorite of theirs, but that one has more to chew on. And like their first album was Cape Dory. I went back, actually when I signed up for this episode, I went back to listen to everything just so I would have a full breadth of knowledge. Of course, that was many months ago and I've forgotten most of it. But Cape Dory, their first album, I did not like almost at all. It was very like almost Kokomo-esque, like this exotica beach music. And I was like, this is some not my cup of tea again. But I think all their music is great. I've listened to Pollen. I think that was the one after this and before Face Down in the Garden. They wrote a song for Rick and Morty, which is one of my favorites. Don't remember that episode at all, but that song was pretty good.
Rick and Morty's one of your favorites, or the song is one of your favorites?
The song that they wrote for Rick and Morty was like the best part of Rick and Morty entirety.
I was going to say, I didn't want our listeners to put you into a box.
No, I do appreciate a good Rick and Morty when it comes out, but it's...
I would rather be shot in the head than watch that show again. I watched 5 seasons of it, and I never laughed once.
Really? Okay. I will defend Rick and Morty in that it's not the funniest thing in the world. It's not even the funniest thing on Cartoon Network, but it does have really interesting throwaway sci-fi gags. I will say that much. Like, they'll just invent something, some kind of a contraption Rick has, and it's just really interesting of an idea, and they throw it away, which makes it funny, but...
If I want to watch Dan Harmon, I will watch Community, because I think that's the greatest written show ever.
You're not going to watch Crapopolis?
I haven't even tried, no. I don't know.
It's this beautiful crypto cartoon that's on like season 9 or something. I don't know what's happening with
that. Is it
but
already? Yeah.
It just comes out. It comes out the same way diarrhea does out of people. terrible.
Wow, beautiful poetry we have on this episode. But I assume it's time for us to get into the track by track.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, before that, I have to tell you both what your favorite is going to be. David, your favorite will be Tender as a Tomb. And Dante, your favorite, I have two choices, is either going to be Need Your Love or Runner. And with that, it's time for track 1, I'll Haunt You. Dante, would you like to do the honors and go first?
I have a little bit of background information about I'll Haunt You. Apparently, this was one of their last songs to be written because it needed the most work. They didn't want another ballad in the album. So they kept trying to speed it up or changing the melody, and it never worked until they just kept it as is. And eventually it got so good to them that they made it first. I thought that was pretty cool. I gave this a 5.
I want to say that I'm happy that they did not like change what they had, because I do adore the vibes of this. And I was going to say, Brandon, you're going to love this because it has a piano in it. Also, so okay, everyone at this point knows how much I don't like vocal manipulation in songs. It works for me here. Like, this is the type where I'm down and I'm with it, because I think it really works here and it goes together with the production, which I absolutely adore. The image I got in my head when listening to this was walking outside somewhere on the beach when you're just feeling euphoric and happy and you're just like, I gotta go outside and walk and listen to something. This is what this song put in my head. It's a 4.5. I really like this.
Well, David, you still don't like vocal manipulation, because I watched this live and it sounds exactly the same. I think it's just her voice has a little nasally quality.
I was going to say, I didn't hear anything about it. It just sounds like her voice to me.
I thought there was something, but I take it back, and I really like that quality. I think it fits the production so much. I've been making a new like indie playlist playlist on Spotify, because I realized I need to actually like do that now. And this is one of the first songs I put in it.
Yes. Thank you.
I am unfortunately going to be letting you down this episode. I think this is a nice song. It's chill. I don't have much to say about it. This is a 3. This I do think is one of the standouts of the album, but there's something about the whole album that didn't like capture me a ton. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. This is a 3. I do go lower.
Damn. I'm changing. Okay, for context, David put my name on this meeting as the stupid ass guest. You're gonna be the stupid ass co-host by the end of this. Yeah, we're changing titles depending on how low you score on some of these.
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but I think I can win you back with the movie. So I'll say that at least.
Man, I know the movie's good. I want to know that you see this album as true art like I do. You're breaking my heart, Brandon. Yes, your opinion is gospel.
I mean, I will say, Brandon, you are the music guy, so
yeah. I mean, I think this is like
the importance,
kind of where we get into critic territory, where I don't want you to think that like what I say is the end all be all. I listen to a lot of indie music, and to me, I mean, this sounds like a lot of other stuff, and I think they do it well. I think they do their sound well, but to me, I feel like I can get this sound from other people and I like it more. I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy this, because I did and I thought it was nice, but I'll spoil one of my notes right now. I don't think the first half of this album is as strong as the second half.
Interesting. I think the complete opposite.
Okay, yeah. That's why I picked your favorite songs as 2 specific ones. So
that's very
we'll get into one of them right now. Track number 2, Need Your Love.
I only have one note here, and it's not about the production, but at the farewell concert, because they did retire as a band. At their farewell concert in August, when Elaine started playing this, everyone started screaming. So I assume this is their most popular song, or at least one of, because people were pretty quiet for the rest of them.
I think Runner is technically their most streamed song, but this is up there. I think they're both like 20-some million, like right around there.
It must be popular on TikTok or something. It's many early 20s people at that concert.
Makes sense. That seems like the right age. This is very much the kind of like rate your music core kind of music, where I'm like, I think it's nice, but it doesn't like do anything different for me. I'm not saying like this is bad, you know? It's just kind of like,
Well, I gave this one a 5 as well. I hope. What was yours?
I do want to ask you, you've given 2 5s. Do you have a favorite song on this album that you specifically chose?
It was "I'll Haunt You."
Oh, okay, cool.
That was my number one. You had a good guess. "Need Your Love" was a good guess.
Which I will say is one of my 2 choices for number 1 on the album. So,
David, virtual high five.
yeah.
Brandon, virtual middle finger.
That's okay. I can see it. I do want to say that this song, this is the one I have the most notes for some reason. This sound is what I wish Clara would do, and I feel like she tries to do it, but she misses the like melodic aspect of it that they do well in here.
I can totally see that.
And then this is where I say something that appears multiple times throughout the album. This sounds like a Whitney song to me. It's got like an AM radio kind of vibe and like modern soul, but it's against the backdrop of indie music. And I liked this song, and then the tempo change hit, and that is one thing that I consistently do not like. I don't mind if it changes once, same with key changes, but if it goes back, that really starts to bother me. Unfortunately, that's just a personal thing. So unfortunately, this one does have to be lower than "I'll Haunt You," although I think melodically, this might be the best song on the album, but it's a 2.5.
It's okay. I have to listen to Whitney, I think. I want to see these comparisons myself.
Yes, I think you will actually really like them. And I'm
Okay.
kind of surprised you didn't listen to them yet, because I feel like that's the artist you'll like the most that we've covered on the podcast.
Well, I hate music, so it's hard to always open up a new
That's
album.
true. Yeah.
I mean, I can see the similarities to Whitney. I feel like I need to go back and specifically compare the album that we listened to this. But I mean, this still really works for me. It's not to the level of "I'll Haunt You," to be honest, for me. But it still does really work. It's a 3.5. It is different in a lot of ways to "I'll Haunt You," and I feel like "I'll Haunt You" just hits more for me. But I do still like this, and it does have that very interesting key change, or not key change, sorry, tempo change, which you don't hear a lot in music. So I'm always like a little thrown off by it, but I didn't mind it here. But ultimately, it is just a 3.5. It's not like to the level of most of the album, not to spoil of what I think of the overall album.
David has locked into his regular indie score of 3.5, which if you haven't listened to enough episodes of the podcast,
Yes.
you'll start to realize now that when David thinks an indie song is good, he's like 3.5. And that's kind of that's it,
Yep.
which is fair.
I will say, don't worry, because most of this is not that.
Thank you, David.
Track number 3, How to Forgive.
Only a small note on this one is that Elaine tried to make it sound like early Madonna. That was her inspiration. I don't know if that really
That's very interesting.
pulled off here.
Because I
but-
have a note about the sound of this song. I said it sounds like a really good local band where it's like, wow, I like this in the moment, but then I'll probably never listen to it again. Because I feel like this song live would be really great, and it's just not one that like the recorded version is going to live up to. That's just my like thought when listening to it. Anyway, this is a 2.5 as well.
I can't wait to like listen to Madonna and hear Brandon say like, "Oh, this sounds like local music."
Yeah. Spoiler alert for
Yeah.
an episode in the near future.
Oh,
So what did you get again? You gave it a 2.5, you said?
I gave it a 2.5. Yeah, Dante, did you say what
2.5.
you gave it?
I gave it a 4.
Okay, so this one is a step down from the others.
It never reaches the highs of the first 2. I'll tell you that much.
Dante,
Yes,
we are actually
we're attuned.
in agreement.
We're mentally
This is
attuned.
a 4 for me
And
too.
Here, I was about to say that Madonna would have invited you on stage to touch you. You seem like the kind of guy, but I take it back.
What?
What the hell?
Didn't she do that? I'm not crazy. I'm not
I'm
crazy.
trying to
She
think.
did.
Did she?
She invites people on stage to touch her?
Was that like
Wait, like, what are we talking?
Oh God, I think I'm thinking of someone else. I'm
Wait.
slandering Madonna for no reason.
Who are you thinking?
Oh God.
we're gonna get a cease and desist letter in a second?
Wait a second. I could think of this.
No, I don't think it's coming to you. Damn.
Nothing.
No.
In any case,
Damn it. Okay, fine. Whatever. She'd still do that too, but I take it back.
so if I give this a 3.5, then you would say that would happen? Is that what you're saying?
No, it happens regardless, but you have my respect for giving it a 4.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, yeah, I think it's not to the level of I'll Haunt You, but I actually do prefer this over Need Your Love.
Oh,
So we do kind of disagree there, but I do like it. I think the chorus is very good in this. And I honestly don't have much else to say. This is kind of the type of album where you kind of just have to go and listen to it.
There it
You
is.
can't really put into words.
There it is.
what you think
Shout out
about it. Shut the
Armenia.
fuck up.
Shout out Armenia.
Oh my,
Got
There
you.
we go.
Got you.
I texted Dante.
Jennifer.
Oh,
Jennifer.
shit.
Damn
Jennifer.
it.
I texted
throw that out
Dante
right now.
to shout out Armenia as the intro, and he was like, "No, I'm going to bring it up later in the episode."
I'm doing you least
my
expected.
God, you too.
That was very good.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
I also forgot to wear the Sandlot shirt.
That's okay. You got it two times, 2 episodes.
Sorry, Dante.
A few weeks ago. You know,
That's true.
it
That
was
is very
good.
true.
So track number 4 is Runner. This one I predicted would be your favorite as well, Dante. For a simple reason, it is my least favorite on the album.
I totally understand where you're coming from because this was my least favorite for a long time. I gave this a 4 after re-listening for the podcast because knowing the background and I don't know, listening to everything as one bigger picture, I kind of see where they were going, but it's such a difference. I feel like it's the only song in this album that really sounds like it, if that makes sense. And I don't really like the sound that they're doing for the most part.
Yeah, I didn't really like the vocals on this one specifically. I felt like it just,
That really high pitch.
yeah, it just didn't really work for me. And this song is where I started to feel some Kesha effect. And this is kind of like, this goes until we get to, well, I'll spoil it. Track number 7. I think that's when the album gets really good.
Damn.
So that was kind of a little bit of,
Brandon, there's only 9
yeah,
tracks.
well,
This is terrible.
4 out of the 9 I liked, and I genuinely enjoyed listening to. So I think that's pretty good.
Man.
Your heart is breaking.
I mean, you listened to the ABBA episode. I had to break Jennifer's heart constantly. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do that.
That's
here.
true. I felt so bad. I felt bad for God and Earth that you didn't like half
I
those
mean,
songs.
what can I say? I go against all logic at every point, at every turn.
Very true.
So
And that's why we come back to listen every week.
yeah, you never know what I'm going to say.
I did want to ask, did you say what your score was, Dante? Because I know you said at first it was a 4.
It is a 4. I think when I first heard it, it was probably like a 2.
Wow.
This is a 2
Or
for
maybe
me.
even a 1.5. Ah, shit.
I did listen to it multiple times, I will say, and it didn't improve. It actually went down.
Damn.
It was a 2.5 at first, and I was like, no, I actually don't like this song as much as any of the others.
This song made me think that even though they are retired, I would love to see Tennis make a bunch of songs for like a coming of age movie. This felt like the climax of one.
I agree with that. I think they would be great at doing a movie score.
Like that Running and Worst Person in the World. Like kind of the climax of the movie. It just felt like that.
Haven't seen it, sorry.
David?
David knows what you're talking about, though.
I hate that movie. I'm sorry.
Oh
Whoa.
my God.
I hate that movie.
Damn.
I don't hate it. I just don't think it's very good. We're both freaking
What's the
out
name
right
of the
now.
director? You don't like Hakeem Trier?
Well, that's the only thing I've seen of his, so I can't say
Yeah, the rest are like that, man. Sorry, you're going to hate this guy.
shit.
But David, did you hate this song?
Well, I was actually going to say, congrats, Dante, because we're in agreement again. This is a 4 for me, too.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Literally. This, in a way, I feel like this has the kind of like wall of sound sort of thing going on, production going on, which typically doesn't really work for me, but it does here. I was genuinely surprised. I think it's just because I really like the style. Like this style just works for me, this specific style, which is why I'm just giving out 4s and 4.5s, which is not typical for when we're listening to indie stuff.
Yes. Got the whole ass playlist.
You switched me over, Dante.
Here I was trying to find an indie album that David would like, going through the most like crazy turns I could find, and all it took was bringing on a guest, and he's been converted over to liking indie now. So thank
Literally.
you for doing that, because we're going to be listening to more of it in the future. And
I mean, this is
I hope he understands
kind of
now.
baby's first indie.
Yes,
It's very accessible, I think. So
that's true.
and that I speak for myself on that because I'm not a huge. In actuality, I'm not just a huge music person, even if I don't hate it. So this was very accessible. It was very easy listening.
I think I need to give David things that other people would like more than me.
You just gotta like.
I'm
keep me
realizing
away from
this.
Your music taste. Is that what you're saying?
Not keep you away from it. You just don't like it.
I like
To
some
be
of it. It
fair,
depends.
David and I have similar tastes.
That's
Okay,
also true.
you agree with him more.
I guess see myself in him more because he's also a novice to a lot of this music.
Yeah.
So his opinions, I think, come from a similar background of just not having a huge breadth of knowledge about it.
Oh, okay.
So it helps this.
Just being dumb as fuck.
Yeah, see, David, because you're stupid, I can now understand you as a stupid person as myself.
Nice.
If Brandon talks, it's like I'm going to Harvard listening to a lecture. You know, I'm not even writing shit down.
Well, then the movie starts, and I'm saying, yeah, that's good. That shot was cool.
And then I switch perspectives where I'm like, I actually do know about movies, and you're dumb. You're dumb now.
So you're David the whole time.
Ironically, even though I'm dumb as fuck about movies too, to be honest.
You wouldn't graduate from season if you weren't, David.
That brings us to track number 5, Echoes.
The backstory to Echoes is actually pretty nuts. Apparently, Moore had collapsed during their tour and had a bit of a flu-enabled epileptic seizure, which left her in the hospital for an entire couple days. And throughout the entirety of her sickness, apparently Patrick never dropped her hand. Because he thought apparently that she was going to die. Like genuine belief, because she has a bit of a, it's kind of why they retired as well. She has a throat, like a degenerative disease. So she can't really sing as much as she used to be. So I guess this is a string of medical issues, and he just thought that she was going to go. So this song was about that whole experience, knowing that there was somebody who was willing to be there for her final moments, if they were, and just stick with her the entire time. So that is Echoes, which I gave a 3.
Oh,
That tenderness means nothing to me. I didn't like the song very much.
I was going to say this song is just kind of forgettable to me, and I thought I was going to be the one to kind of break up the party. This is a 2.5.
I totally get you.
It's fine. It just doesn't really do much for me, unfortunately.
Remember I said that there are 2 songs that were front
This
runners
is a
to be
5?
number 1?
No way.
Whoa.
This is a 4.5 for me. This
Wow.
just really worked for me. Maybe because I'm in a relationship. I don't know.
Oh, David, get the hell out of here with that shit. Maybe because I know how to commit and people love me, that I totally get the sentiment here. But because you two suck ass,
Hey, one person. Everyone else hates me. Just one person.
I hate you for that. Yeah, you can add me to the list, buddy. You know what? I'm never sending you music recommendations ever again. You piss me off.
As if you were before this episode.
Well, I was so glad that you liked this album. I was going to, but you know what? I'm unfriending you on Airbuds.
I deleted that app, not gonna lie.
I kept getting notifications being like, check out what Brandon and Becca are listening today. And I was like, I'm okay.
I got so annoyed I deleted it.
One of my friends who listens to me like the same song like 15 times in a row, and it's like, you'll never guess what he has on repeat. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I will guess though, because it's the same song every day. Like,
You sure that wasn't me?
no, it wasn't, because you deleted it. You're
Okay.
gone.
That's
sadly.
true. That's very true.
You know, Brandon, this is a little anecdote. When we had archery together with Kaylee, we both got him to download Be Real.
Whoa.
Because at the time, you know, it was still kind of in use. We're all in college and shit. So I was so excited to see what David does on his everyday life outside of school. And he just never used it and then fucking deleted it without telling me.
Sounds about right. Yeah. I made him download TikTok because we were going to start like posting videos and I wanted to send him stuff too. Cause I follow a bunch of like transit accounts and we both love transit. We've talked about this on the podcast before. And then I was sending him stuff for like a month and he wasn't watching it. And then I asked him and he's like, oh yeah, I deleted it a few months ago. I was like,
you're being
what?
exposed on
Like,
this episode
why?
of the podcast. Yeah, you're being exposed and we're going to cancel you.
I'm just living my truth. What can I say? I'm a Reddit guy. That's my life, okay?
I made a Madonna molestation joke and you're the one getting canceled this episode.
Yeah, he's spending way too much time on Reddit these days.
Hey,
that's true.
We got to cancel him for that.
There's a lot of info to find out.
No, there isn't.
Ever been on the
No, there
screenwriting-
isn't, David.
Ever been on, ever been on
in
the
general.
screenwriting subreddit? They actually help out you with stuff, like give you notes and shit like that.
Well, you're the only one who writes now.
That's true.
Me and Dante gave up.
David, the screenwriting subreddit is for people who don't have friends from college to help them do that. You know, we're all
That's
here.
true. David texted me right before we got on today, and he said, I just finished a movie. And I said, oh, you should send it over. And he said, no, it's not done yet.
I got to clean it up first.
Send it
Okay.
I don't care.
No, he has to send it to the screenwriting subreddit.
Yeah, exactly. So then he can get notes there. I see how it is.
I sent it to 2 people, you two, because literally if I ask anyone else, they will say, send it to me and I will send it. And then they just won't read it, which you guys know is true.
Yes, we do know that's true. But now you should be sending it to
Yes.
us right now, right in the middle of this episode.
I will, but I literally just finished the first draft. So I got to go and like go through it, fix like stuff that doesn't line up because I changed stuff,
fine.
fix editing stuff,
I
stuff like
believe
that.
you.
That's
This
what I'm
time.
talking
I
about.
rate it a 4. I rate your script a 4.
Thank you.
It's good writing.
I would say 4.5.
That means that like in actual
well,
writing is probably like a 2.
It's only a 4 or 4.5 if we separate art from artist. So I will just do that for this one.
I know there's a joke there that you're not saying, but it's okay. You can say it. I believe in you.
I have a whole short list of things I can call David that are not good for work,
That'll get you actually
but I
canceled.
will refrain.
Okay. Well, maybe next episode you can drop one now and then.
Next episode, I will warn you as to what I will say. I'll give you a small, it's like a pre-approved list for
Yes.
a late night talk show where there's only so many things you could say. Anyway, I guess we were listening to an album or something.
Anyways, yeah, this song was fine.
I like the full sound. It sounds so full, which I like about like all the songs on this album. And this song specifically sounded very full. And they had like the mix of guitars in it, which I really liked. Which maybe I like it so much because I like rock. And that reminded me of rock because they had guitars. I don't know. But this just really worked for me. It just really got it there for me. I do think that ultimately, I'll Haunt You is my favorite song. So we are actually in agreement there too, Dante. But this is my second favorite.
Interesting. This is very much a wife guy song.
Oh God,
You're very
just
much a
called me
wife
Ned
guy.
Fulmer.
Shout out Jennifer.
I would never do that to Jennifer. Never. Don't worry.
I don't even know what that's a reference to. I'm sorry.
The Try Guy. Anyways,
Oh, yeah. Track number 6.
yes.
Swimmer.
This song was about releasing Patrick's dad's ashes. It was a reflection of their time on the beach to do so. So hence Swimmer. She felt both very scared of the ocean because she couldn't swim, and also very free that they were releasing his ashes in such a beautiful way. So that dichotomy, I guess, was the basis of this song. I gave it a 3.5. Wasn't very impressed.
Damn. Well, I mean, I'll continue that. This is a 2.5 for me. I think it's nice and chill, and it gives me the vibe of like a cold summer day. And I think it's good, but it is unfortunately a little forgettable. This is kind of the Kesha effect part of the album for me.
I will kind of continue that, even though I still like this song. There's no song on this album that I don't like, but I do think it's not as strong. It's just like a nice, quieter song compared to the rest of the album that doesn't hit as hard. It's a 3.5. We're agreeing again.
That's crazy. I mean,
I still like it, but it's not that good.
I didn't expect David to like this album. I thought it was going to be more of the same of him just saying, oh, it's indie music. It's a 3.5 for every single song on here. So I picked this.
For some reason, it worked for me.
And that's good. I'm glad. Like genuinely, like this needed to happen at some point. So I'm glad it finally is.
Yeah, it did.
So I picked this song as David's favorite song because I thought it sounded noticeably different than the other songs. And this is track number 7, Tender as a Tomb.
I don't have any major notes about its production, but it does sound a lot like Cape Dory, that first album that I don't really like. So this is only a 3. This is my least favorite.
Well, we're in agreement on this one. This is a 3. I do like this song. And this song sounds like if the Beatles discovered surf music, in my opinion.
That is a great analogy.
I think it's quite fun. And in my opinion, this is the most memorable song from the album because it's so different than from the other songs. It's not my favorite, though.
That makes me wonder if you will like the first album that Dante doesn't like, Cape Dory.
I was thinking when he said that I probably would like it because I'm sure it sounds, I mean, it's like what, 2013, 2012 when it came out. And that's like the era of indie that I really like.
This song is very interesting because to me, at least, it sounds so different, but then also very similar. So it's kind of like both at the same time. And I will admit, this style does not work for me as much as like the rest of the album, the style that's present there. That being said, it still worked for me because it's a 4. It's a very low 4. It's almost a 3.5, but it kind of like just stayed there at that 4. I could see it go down in the future because, again, the style is not my favorite compared to the rest of the songs, but it still did work for me.
I think I would have much preferred this song to be in the middle of the album to kind of break up that Kesha effect
I agree.
block.
I can see that, yeah.
Because it is so unique and it is very soft, and it kind of takes away from the last 3 songs of this album being very, in my opinion, emotional.
I do agree with that. This is where the album picks up for me because it's different and it kind of like refreshed, I guess, my taste. And then I did really enjoy the last 2 songs. Obviously, my favorite will be one of them.
All right, David, let's call it. I call Matrimony 2.
All right, you called that one, so I'm going to call Late Night, so that way we got both bases covered.
Okay.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
and winner gets a blowjob from the other. All right, shake on it. All right, next song.
Track number 8, Late Night.
I didn't have any notes for this one either, but I did say this really feels like a good hangout. You have a good hangout until like, I don't know, middle of the night. You go home. It's nice and brisk outside. Feels like that when you walk home. During season years, I had a random conversation with a high school friend who was our neighbor and my roommate. And we started talking at probably 9 p.m. And we didn't realize we were still talking by the time the sun came up. So we went out to the CSUN parking garage and stood at the top and just watched the sun come up. And this song reminds me of that. It's a good time where you just forget that you're a relevant part of the space-time continuum for a second.
I agree with that. I wrote down this song sounds like a summer night at the beach, in my opinion.
Perfect.
And
perfect.
Yeah, I liked this one. This is not my favorite, though. This is a 3.
David, I'm unzipping my pants.
I mean, okay, I like this song. It does not hit the previous highs of the album, but I still like it. It's kind of like Tender's a Tune where it's still a 4 because it still gets there for me.
Mine was a 4 as well.
Oh, 4 for you. Okay, nice. See, we're in agreement again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at us.
And the final track, track number 9, Matrimony 2, which is my favorite.
This is a sequel, obviously, to Matrimony, one of their earlier songs, which is about their wedding day. So naturally, the sequel, Matrimony 2, is about 10 years in and her reflection on those last 10 years. And I think this is one of the most romantic choruses I've ever heard in a song. I almost shed it. I completely overlooked this song the first couple times I listened to this album because I was so in love with the first half. But this is probably the most reflective of their career overall. These themes of love and commitment, and you get a lot of more of these slow melodic sounds in their next album. What is that?
You can talk. You can talk. It's David. There's a helicopter over his head.
Okay, it sounded like metal grating.
LAPD is coming.
Sorry, I just have to point this out for the listeners because we're on a call right now. There's a helicopter or a plane going by David's window, and he is like sheltering in place, like looking up out of the corner of his eye, like there's gonna be a bomb drop.
Yeah, you're like in Munich. You're waiting. You're
insane.
hearing Allied planes coming over you.
I cannot believe that you didn't break during that, Dante. That was insane. That was one of the funniest moments that I've seen. And for some reason, David's camera is always like super grainy and out of focus. But for some reason, it was like you could perfectly see it then.
It's like we're watching Live Leak.
It literally looked like I was on
Yes.
her back or something.
Literally. It's like that one movie where it
Unfriended?
Yes, Unfriended, exactly.
David, you'd be so good in Unfriended.
Yes, he's waiting for the killer. Anyway, the most romantic song ever, getting back to that.
I gave this a 4.5.
I want to say, I feel like, to your point that you only started like getting into the song more recently because you were so in love with the first part of the album. That's me. I'm so in love with the first part of the album right now that this does not honestly work for me as much. It's still good, but it's not as strong as I want it to be, at least at the moment. And I will say the kind of abrupt ending does hurt it. It's a 3.5. I still like it, obviously, but it's not that strong for me.
My argument for that abrupt ending is that it feels like she's still waiting for the rest of her marriage. if that makes sense. Like the story's not over.
Which is a good point. And I do like that. The thing is, I don't listen to songs like that though. I listen purely for vibes.
Succession soundtrack.
That's the issue.
Beatles.
Exactly. Andor soundtrack. Sinner soundtrack.
Some video game that I don't even remember that you haven't ever played.
Last of Us soundtrack. That's what that is.
Yeah. Last of Us video game soundtrack, notably, not the series. Yes, but Matrimony 2 for me. I gave this a 3, although it is much closer to a 3.5, and I could see it getting there someday. I think this is a great end to the album, and I don't really have much else to say about it. I did think that this was the other song that specifically reminded me of Whitney, though. I feel like it is just very calm, very nice. And Dante, as you were talking, I was thinking I'm definitely going to have to make you a playlist of some indie music that I think you'll like, because there were a few other things you were saying as you were talking about this song that I was like, oh yeah, there's other songs that have made me feel that these emotions as well that I think you'll enjoy. So
I hope that's where me and David split up, where I'll actually like your recommendations.
Yeah, I would,
and not hate your taste.
I would hope so, but I don't know if David hates my taste. I feel like it's more like
I respect your taste.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I chose the Maroon 5 album, which he loved, so that was pretty good.
You also chose the Ariana Grande album, the Troye Sivan album, the Banks album.
Chose 100 Gex.
I fucking hated that album. But it seems like I am in line with your pop more than I am with like your indie pop, stuff like that. I think that's where we like sync up.
But we've reached the end of the album, and I'd like to start with our guest of honor. Dante, what is your score for the album overall, and what are your thoughts on the album overall?
My score is a 4.5. I think this is a great little, I will say a huge plus to this is that it is only like 32 minutes.
Very true.
9 songs, 32 minutes. I have like fried Instagram Reels attention span. So this is perfect for me. It's a nice bite-sized, entertaining love story told through such beautiful poetry. Even in the genius descriptions that Elaine was writing, she just has such a way with syntax, like this gorgeous word choice and a real talent for striking visuals. Like I Need Your Love, like a bolt of lightning from the sky above. That's just, it gives me chills.
I mean, I'll go first since I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and then David will end on a positive note. I think this album is good. I don't have any major problems with it. To me, it just sounds like most other indie albums I've listened to. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because I like indie music, which is why I gave this a 3. I mean, I think indie is good, and I think this is a good album. It doesn't have that standout song or moment or experience for me necessarily. I like her voice, although it's not like my favorite among like other female indie singers and songwriters. I do think there's a lot of nice writing on here. I mean, we've talked that I'm not like a big writing guy all of the time. Like I generally prefer the sound of the music more. And for me, that was kind of the thing that was lacking a little bit more when compared to other indie albums. But overall, I enjoyed this. This is not something that I probably would have listened to because I hadn't heard of Tennis, or if I did hear of them, it was through New Music Friday and I would have listened to a song and been like, it's fine. And then just like immediately forgotten about them. So I'm glad I listened to this and I experienced it. There's only one person on Rate Your Music that I follow that rated this album, and they gave it a 4.5.
Hey.
So there are others out there that really enjoyed this album. But yeah, for me, it is a 3. And I will probably listen to Matrimony 2 again. I think that one will make it into the playlists. Although I will say the first song, I think, is another, like, first and last are the two like standouts. I feel like they're very nice bookends, and it makes you appreciate the album more, even though like some of the like interior songs, I guess, get a little Kesha effecty. But yeah, David, what do you have to say?
I mean, it's kind of obvious from my scores that I did really like this. The way that I typically tabulate my score for the overall album is the average, which in this case would be a 4. I do want to give this a 4.5 because I did really like it. I like the style just really worked for me. It's like a 4 that's almost a 4.5, and I'm really close to just giving it a 4.5. The only thing that's stopping me is that my average would be a 4. But I'll say I might go to 4.5 in the future.
I mean, I was going to say,
I'm very close to that.
In the future, you never know what happens. Although I am an advocate for if an album, like whatever the average comes out to, I feel like you should give more or take away more based on what the full listening experience was. So if
That's
it's
also
a bunch
true.
of fours, but you're like, I really enjoyed my time from start to finish, then I would kick it up. But that's my like personal rating system.
Which I did, and I did put I'll Haunt You in my playlist, and I'll probably add Echoes too, which I feel like maybe should just push it to 4.5 right now. Because it did really work for me. And that would mean that we have the same
You
score.
should, so we
Yeah,
can.
you know what? I'm doing it. This is a 4.5. This is really good.
Yes,
It worked. It worked on me.
I have a feeling that whatever problems you have with this one may be exercised in Face Down in the Garden. I think they improve quite a bit, musical maturity wise. It feels a lot more full. So if you ever have the time,
That is an album that I did not listen to from this past year. And I saw it come out and I was like, I don't really want to listen to it because I know I want my first experience with them to be your album that you chose. So
it might make it in your top 50 of the year. Who knows?
true. Who knows? Yeah, I had a bunch this past year, surprisingly, even though I feel like it was kind of a weak year for music. There were just a lot bunched around the like high 3.5s. But on that note, we've reached the end of the music part, which means it's time for the movie part. This is The Kid Detective. And David, take it away.
Let's talk about it. Now, honestly, I don't have that many notes. It's a newer film, and it's a small film, which means that there's not a lot of info about the making of it. So I'm just going to run through the little bit I have, and then Dante can take away with any fun facts or info that you might have before we talk about the movie itself. But as usual, I'm going to start with the IMDb logline, and I want to hear what you two think. So here goes. A once celebrated kid detective, now 32, continues to solve the same trivial mysteries between hangovers and bouts of self-pity until a naive client brings him his first adult case to find out who brutally murdered her boyfriend.
I feel like that's pretty good.
It's great. A little long.
It's long,
Yeah.
but I feel like it literally encapsulates the whole movie.
Yes, and excludes the twist that you don't really want to know about until you're watching the movie.
Can we discuss spoilers? Is that a...
Yes, we
Oh, yeah.
spoil movies all the time.
Fuck the audience.
Okay, cool. Because I feel like that's fair, but there's such an important twist to it. I don't know if you'd want to talk about it, but I'd love to talk about it.
If that sounds like something you would want to watch based off the log line, I would highly recommend pausing this episode and coming back later because this is a very unique viewing experience, which obviously we said there's a twist. So you will not be expecting it. I can tell you that much.
But with that, let's get the credits out of the way. This movie is directed and written by Evan Morgan. It's produced by Jonathan Bronfman and William Woods. The cinematography is by Mike McLaughlin. It's edited by Kurt Lobb, L-O-B-B, apologies. And the music is by Jay McCarroll. It was distributed by Level Films, although internationally I believe it was distributed by Sony. And it stars Adam Brody and Sophie Nellis, apologies again, amongst others. Now, to quickly just talk about the brief notes that I have. This project started when Evan Morgan came to Adam Brody with the idea back all the way in 2012. Incidentally, this movie came out in 2020. And he had the first act. So he sent that to Brody and Brody loved it. And then he didn't hear anything from Morgan for a year and a half. And so he thought, okay, that's it. This movie is not going to happen. Until he suddenly received the finished script. So they started to take it around, get it financed. But of course, even though people liked it, it's an indie film. So people were just not going to finance it. They were saying no again and again and again, to the point that Brody told Morgan that they should just cut it up and turn it into a 6-episode miniseries because that would be easier to get financed. And right as he said this, they were able to get financing. So they shot it in North Bay, Ontario, Canada.
Wait, stop. Redo that. You said they shard it, I think.
Oh, they shot. Whoops.
You just say shard it. I was like, okay, I don't know if that's okay, but...
They shot it in North Bay, Ontario, Canada, and production lasted 26 days. They ended up editing it and doing the whole post-production process over a year. and ended right as the COVID pandemic set in 2020. So a lot of film festivals were, of course, shut down, which is the main avenue for an indie film to get released. They got very lucky, however, when it was picked up by various distribution companies, including Sony for the UK. Literally a week before it was released, they were told that it was being released and to go talk to the publicity department about the film's poster. So it came out October 20th, 2020. And of course, COVID was raging, so it grossed $367,000 on its budget of $3 million. It did, however, get positive reviews from critics and was noted for its humor, layered performances, and its tone. And it actually was named to TIFF's year-end top 10 Canadian films.
You got all the schematics out of the way, so you could leave my stupid little fun facts. I picked through like 10 different interviews with Evan Morgan and Adam Brody. It was so funny seeing Adam Brody on all these like 2020 interviews because he had Biden-Harris shirts on, and they kept constantly talking about like the corona being a reason why people aren't watching it.
It's a very different time, and I actually ended up today being reminded of Nick Jonas's album From COVID that's like about COVID, and it's honestly like it's pretty good. And then I was listening to it and I was like, whoa, actually some of these lyrics are like really corny, and we thought this was like important at the time during COVID, and it is just weird to look back at that. And it's also been like almost 5 years since it started, which is insane.
It's not even that long.
It's not that long, but at the same time, it's also incredibly long because where have we gotten in life since then? At least speaking for myself, you know?
True. My erectile dysfunction has only gotten worse.
No comment.
Well, David's gonna see it in a minute after this call. Anyway, there's some interesting connections I saw on IMDb between the editor and the composer. So Kurt Lobb, the editor, as you said, and Jay McCarroll, the composer, they both worked on Nirvana, the band, the show, and Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Jay McCarroll wrote some of it, and yeah, Kurt Lobb also did the Blackberry movie.
Oh, I've been wanting to watch that.
The DP, Mike McLaughlin, also worked on The King's Tide, which Red Letter Media, the YouTubers, recommended on their channel, alongside The Kid Detective, which is where I found this. I don't know if you saw this, David, on IMDb, but this was produced by like 15 people, one of which is including Adam Brody. It was a lot of people. You listed the main executive producers, who probably the most hand in doing it, but they had needed financing from so many different places. They were just giving out the producer title.
Tracks.
I was kind of surprised at the lack of like completely different like little media companies at the beginning of this. There were only like two, because I watched the DVD version and it was like Stage 6 Sony and then like one of the main ones in Canada. And that was it. And I was expecting this to be like, God, what was that movie we watched? Oh, it was The Apprentice, which had like 15
Late Night with the Devil
at the beginning of it. Well, yeah, I think Late Night with the Devil, wasn't that the one that was on Netflix that was literally like 2.5 minutes of like the intro was just the production companies?
Well, I could see them going to people with money that weren't in companies, you know, just like rich people, and be like, hey, make my movie, you know?
Well, I think Evan Morgan is a like first-time director, so it might have been hard to sell it outside of Adam Brody's name being attached from the beginning.
That's a good point.
Who also got a executive producer credit. I watched a ton of Evan Morgan interviews, and he said that the story of this was based on his own childhood. All his family and classmates and friends would say that he's the next Spielberg, and that he would go on to great movies because he always filmed them as like a middle schooler. And the more he got older and the more that he was becoming unsuccessful in the film industry, the more of those awkward little dinner dates that they have in the movie where they're like, oh, are you still doing that film thing? It's like, yeah, I've solved over 200 mysteries, like that kind of shit. I've filmed over 200 short films. It's like, wow, you know, I'm really glad you're keeping at it. Just that over and over, that inspired the story.
You can totally see that, to be honest.
Right? Once he said that, the whole story made sense.
Well, it kind of points to like the write what you know, because you can see it comes from a place of like, this person has actually experienced this. So, or something similar.
He is a film school graduate as well, so it's even more like us, unfortunately.
I.e., that's going to be our future, huh?
Well, if we could direct something half as good as this in our like early 30s, I would take that. Even write something like this.
Well, David's writing it right now. We just have to like get on board.
It's true. You have until like 31 to finish this.
We'll see how good it is.
We'll never know.
He was very pro film school in his interview, where he said that there's a certain beauty about film school in that the pipeline between idea and production was very accessible. All you had to do was get the right amount of people and the correct resources, and you could pretty much film anything you want within a weekend's notice. It's not entirely true of CSUN, but at his Canadian film school, I'm sure it was.
It was true for me when I went to film school in Chicago. I'll say that.
That's because you didn't go to season.
Well, right, exactly. It's a much more of a like do-it-yourself, hands-on type of approach, and they'll provide you like the cameras and equipment and stuff like that, and the space to do it. It's more of a time thing where you got to shoot. Like my first semester, I was shooting like either a short film or like a mini, like a tiny short of like 1.5 to 2 minutes every single weekend. And it was like crazy. It was so much work all the time. But, that's why I feel like only going there for a year, I had actually pretty decent education.
You live that Evan Morgan life.
Literally.
I have a pretty favorable view of film school as well, to an extent.
He said he really liked the deadlines. That was his favorite part. It kept him busy.
I love deadlines.
I agree. Yes. Having deadlines as someone who can't really like make deadlines for themselves, like it's so nice to have something and have other people counting on you to deliver something that like you just can't replicate it when you're alone,
As someone that loves deadlines and sets deadlines for myself, it's just hard to keep them when it's not official. Like
Exactly.
I had a deadline for this podcast, and I didn't do the notes in time like I wanted to. I was going to do all this about a week ago, and I did it about an hour before we started filming. Stuff like that. He was writing the script for like 4 years. It took him 1.5 years to finish it, but he was conceptualizing in total, he said, around 4. And he wished to God every day that there would be like an actual deadline other than himself to get it done. I mean, he even have a deadline for when he gave it to Adam Brody. He was like, yeah, we should totally make this. And then just still let 1.5 years pass by, which he says he sorely regretted.
I mean, I get that, but I think also what ended up coming out, like the finished product, I feel like is kind of something where it's like you need to let it simmer more before you write it.
I 100% agree.
I get wanting to do everything fast, and because of like the way that the industry works and the way that the world works is like you need to be doing certain things by certain ages and at certain times in like culture. And I feel like that's kind of present here. Like if this came out 2016 or 17, I feel like this would have been huge. But it came out a few years later. But I also wonder what it would have looked like if it came out in 2016 or 17, because it would have been a different film.
Maybe not as clever, maybe not as self-referential.
Would have had different actors as well, which I think is a big part of why this works.
All right, that's all I had for fun facts about production. I got more about the story and the acting, but we can move on to how you guys felt.
Well, who wants to go first for how we feel? Because I don't know if it should be me. I don't know if it should be one of us or if it should be you, Dante, because you like this film. I guess it's up to you since you're our guest. Would you rather hear one of us first or you?
Well, I'll get it out of the way. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say. I love this movie. This is a 5 on my letterbox. It's top 4. I think this is a perfect indie movie in that it's very clever. It doesn't seem to have gotten much like mass appeal studio interference. It's kept a lot of its darkness. It's low budget, and you could tell, but not in a way that's insulting. It's just a very resourceful kind of filmmaking, and it's just fun. This is a quintessential movie. How do you guys feel about this?
I want to say something that I noticed immediately with this movie, which is it is incredibly Canadian.
Yes,
and I mean that in a good way, because I feel like I've always noticed something about American comedy and British comedy. American comedy is all about how other people are crazy, how they're the joke. British humor is always about how I hate myself. And Canadian humor is about essentially being a good person and then getting into these kind of like, not necessarily even situations. It's more like quips and like little like things here and there that you wouldn't think are like overtly that obviously funny. Like I feel like American and British TV and movies are. And I like that a lot. I've always liked Canadian media. I don't know if I want to say more than American, but Canadian musicians, at least, are almost always good. Like, if I just hear any musician in New Music Friday Canada, I'm like, the chances of me liking that are way higher than any other country that I listen to. And that's kind of how I felt about this film immediately, is I really like this style of humor because it's not necessarily trying to be funny. It just is inside of the script and in the bones of the film. It just is written in a way that is so enjoyable. And it's not trying to sell you on jokes. David and I had this discussion about like Marvel movies, and we talked about it in relation to Die Hard. That to me is kind of what is missing in so many comedy films and so many things that are filtered through that studio system that you were talking about. It dilutes it down from what the original vision is. And I feel like that's kind of the beauty of this film, is it has such a specific vision that not everyone is going to like, and that's good. And I'm glad that they chose to keep it that way and, you know, make it an indie film. And I agree with you with what you said about how it is a low budget film and you can tell, but not in a bad way. I liked the way it was shot. It feels very much like this is just real life, but it doesn't feel like a student film, like an amateur film. Like you can tell that there's thought in every shot that they did. And it looks really cool too. And I want to say North Bay looks like a very fun place. I've driven through there before. It's cool. It's like the Midwest. It's kind of like small town despite being bigger. And it's just got a nice vibe to it. I really like Canada, in case you can't tell. I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I don't want to give my score away yet. I know you can tell that I already like this, but I want to hear what David has to say first.
Not to just talk about what both of you just talked about, but I agree. And I want to talk about the comedy specifically because in some ways, and I could be wrong, but in some ways I feel like a part of at least what I've come to see from Canadian comedy is that it's also just real. Like there are jokes in this film and they do make me laugh, but the reason why they work so well, I think, is because they also just are real. Like they are things people would say every day versus a lot of American comedy. Yeah, like the jokes are funny, but oftentimes they're outrageous to the point where you're like, yeah, people wouldn't think of that comeback naturally. Like that's obviously a written joke versus I feel like in a lot of Canadian comedies that I've seen, it's still hilarious, but it also feels like people literally just talking. And the comedies there, like it just is in the dialogue that isn't geared towards like sending out jokes. That's kind of the same thing that I get from watching Schitt's Creek, which is a Canadian show, which I absolutely love.
I was going to say that's one of the best comparisons that there is because it's that similar brand of humor that is not like written to be like laugh out loud funny necessarily. It just is funny in its absurdity. And I think the other thing that I wanted to say real quick is that I kind of misspoke. Like British humor is about hating yourself. American humor is about hating other people. Canadian humor is about treating both yourself and other people with respect and then finding the humor in that.
True.
And I feel like that's more like what I wanted to say. But yeah, and I enjoy that because it's a similar ethos to like Midwesterners.
Literally, yeah. The other point that I was going to say was that this film just has a charm, which I don't know if it's because it's Canadian. It could be. But it just has, it's so charming. Like I just loved it from the very beginning because it feels like almost infectious where it just gets you on board. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the murder mystery aspect of it. I love murder mysteries. That's one of my favorite genres. And what I liked about this film was, in some ways, it doesn't feel like a murder mystery, and that kind of feels perfect. I feel like if they went for the big dramatic reveal and stuff like that, like it would not have worked. I love the way that they handled it because it made it mesh perfectly with the tone of the film. And it also just made it seem real too. Like I fully believed that all the things that happened in this film could happen in real life. And I'm happy that they made it like that instead of going for like an overly dramatic murder mystery, which I also do love. It's like that's why I love murder mysteries, but it would not have worked for this film. And going into the film, like when I started watching the film and I saw the tone, I was like, okay, I wonder how they're going to deal with the murder mystery aspect of it. And I'm so happy that they dealt with it the way that they did. And that's another big reason why I did really like this and why this really worked for me.
I mean, he's a terrible detective.
He is, absolutely.
Like he is no smarter than like the average 10th grade honor student.
Which is also part of the joke.
And he completely stumbles upon this solution. Not to fully get into spoilers yet, but his obsession with the inciting incident of a case that this movie starts with is what leads him to that conclusion. It's not really his own logic or his cleverness or understanding.
Oh, yeah, no, he's not a good detective.
No, it's terrible. It's just his obsessive memory of never being able to get over this one case that leads him to that solution.
And I think that kind of adds to the realism of it, because it's like, yeah, it's this guy that, you know, people would come to when he was a kid. You know, it's not
he's a
like
bum. He's been a bum for like 20 years.
Yeah, pretty much. That adds to the realism instead of him being like, oh, I figured it all out in like 2 seconds. So that's like, yeah, like that's why it does work so well. That's why I love that aspect of it so much.
I think a good percentage of that is built off of Adam Brody's charm.
Also very true.
He is this movie was made for him. Like apparently Evan Morgan wrote it with Adam Brody in mind as his hopeful pick.
And I will say that this movie would not work without him.
No, not at all. He's such a
like,
perfect
you need him
everyman charisma and such sympathetic eyes. He has little puppy dog eyes that are so sad to watch when he's shit on by the entire town.
His whole pedophile arc reminds me a lot of David.
I hate
David,
you now. I hate you so much.
Check David's shed, everybody. You're lucky you live in an apartment.
Oh my God.
I might cut that out, but honestly.
No, why? You cannot.
I don't know.
I will beat the hell out of you.
Yeah, I cannot cut it out. You're right.
That whole segue leads into spoilers. Maybe we could talk about
anyway,
the twist.
yeah. I wanted to say one thing before that, and I feel like I had a slightly different read of this as well. That I don't know if he ever was necessarily a bad detective or that he was just kind of ahead of his years, essentially, in having this knowledge. And he got so cocky in having this ability to figure things out because it was so cut and dry that he was kind of like, oh, I can do that with everything. That's how life is going to be for me. And I enjoyed that aspect of it. And it felt very much like a kind of gifted and talented type of student, which, you know, I relate to that. It also ties into something that we had talked about starting this episode with, which is Dante taking the autism test. And I was going to ask you guys, do you think his character, Adam Brody's character, is autistic? Because I kind of do.
Kaylee and I watched it together. That was her read immediately. I was like, I don't know, maybe. But I'm glad you also see that because there are many signs.
Oh, totally. David, do you have a thought?
I can't say shit because of the helicopter. I gotta wait for it to pass.
Yeah, it's there for a reason.
I didn't get that read, but I could see it. Honestly, my impression was just that he just was not very good at it, and that's why he was where he was in the film. Especially because he gets the thing wrong about the guy stealing from the not to get into spoilers, but he solves the mystery in the beginning of this kid stealing from the school, and he gets that wrong. So that kind of gave me the impression that, yeah, he was always just bad at it. Like, he does not know what he's doing.
To me, that case...
That was my impression, though.
Him getting it wrong was kind of built off of this confidence that he's had his whole life of, like, I'm just kind of smarter than everyone else.
He even has a line like that, right? So he would just stare at the ceiling and just think about how brilliant he was.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like that because also I think that speaks to how Adam Brody plays it, is you don't get the idea that he's like full of himself for any other reason than like he was smart. Like it doesn't come across as like, at least in my opinion, as like he's an idiot that just kind of lucked into solving all of these cases. I feel like he actually is smart, and then he just gets too full of himself. He thinks it's too easy. and nothing is that easy. I feel like it kind of plays into that pattern recognition that is present in autism, where it's like he starts to realize how to solve the cases, and then it becomes more about how he's solving the cases instead of actually looking at what is present in the case, and then he kind of gets caught up in that, and that's why he's unable to solve the disappearance of the girl. So I don't know. I had like a very deep like reading of this, partly because I also see myself in this character.
That is a great read, because eventually it's that pattern recognition that gets him the answers at the end. It's the paper.
True.
He's noticed the paper being given out before. But that is quite sad that you see yourself in this character, Brandon.
So he actually is kind of a good detective, because then that also kind of proves my point. He eventually does see, once he's built up past this like behavior, which also I would like to talk about in a second, but once he's like is able to break through his patterns and see a new pattern, then that's kind of when everything shifts. Also, I wanted to talk about the self-destructive behavior. That really, like, the whole gifted and talented kid to like burnout pipeline is very real in like people with autism. And I don't know if I've said this before, but I do have it. I'm sorry to the government if you're listening to this. Please let me leave the country in the future, because I fucking hate America. Anyway, that's beside the point. Canada, please take me. I know you don't want to, but so essentially this like idea of being so smart that you kind of like go on autopilot and then burning out, I feel like is so easily identifiable with his character. And then it takes a while to realize, for him at least, that he's the problem. Like, he's doing this to himself. And that kind of self-destructive behavior as well fits into this mold of like depression that arises from kind of being different than everyone else. He's getting bullied by the popular kid who turns out had a good reason to bully him, but that it's an interesting dichotomy that was present in the film, and I really enjoyed that. And yeah, like you said, it is kind of sad to see yourself in a character, but at the same time, it is nice because it's like, oh, I'm not the first person to kind of feel this way. I mean, I'm kind of going through that right now of like, I left LA, left behind the career that I never had. And it's like, oh, what am I doing now? I don't know. And that's kind of where he's at in the movie.
To your point about Evan Morgan, I feel like I connected to, the main character in that way of like, I'm not where I thought I was going to be. I feel like I'm walking in quicksand. So I get that of like, you're growing up and you're not where you thought you were going to be. Like that's something that I really connected to. And I feel like in some ways, it's something that will connect to a lot of people our age, just considering where the world is at and like what people our age go through, just in general and specifically now. So I do think that it will speak to a lot of people like that. Like a lot of people will connect to the main character, which is ironic considering that it came out during COVID.
I mean, Dante, you said it was sad that I saw myself in this character. I'd like to throw it back to you. Do you think it's sad that you rated this a five-star movie?
Well, I was gonna say, I relate to you. I was gonna say it's very sad because I also relate 100% to like the gifted kid who didn't try at all, and that not trying for like 6 years just fucked me over up until now, So I totally see myself in this character. He's just like a bum. His parents always like, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? And he's like, please just get out of my face. Constantly just his version of coping is just taking pills and drinking. But he's mostly just like walking around and not really interacting with the world around him that he has seen as hostile. I totally understand that as well. I don't know. I rated it a 5 because I think there's one line in here that I think perfectly encapsulates this movie. I'm not going to get the wording 100% right, but it's hard to blend both how you see yourself and the person you actually are. It's hard to remedy those two. I didn't really, again, it's kind of like Matrimony 2, where I didn't really notice that line the first couple times I've watched this. But I guess maybe after college and having this year, I live at home post-college, having this year to myself just to kind of reflect, it hit a lot harder that in my mind, I am still this gifted student who was, not to brag, but 3 grades above reading level in 5th grade, or scoring 4s on the AP test despite having D's in the class. I'm like, yeah, I'm like this hidden genius guy who can just bust this shit out. But unfortunately, after 3 cases of COVID and presumably some blunt force trauma somewhere that I'm not really aware of while I'm sleeping because I thrash around a lot, I have greatly decreased my brain activity, and I'm no longer that kind of person, if I even was at all. So watching this movie now, with all that reflection considered, it's kind of sickening to see. It looks like I'm looking at a mirror of myself at 32 if I don't change things around.
No, for sure. I 100% agree. And that's why David is going to give his score before I do.
Yeah, this is a 4. I feel like this is a movie I need to rewatch a lot. And I feel like my score will go up and up as the more I rewatch it. I think maybe in some ways, like, I didn't want to like it too much because I was like, shit, like this character is going through stuff that I relate to, and it's a little too close to home in some ways, which I think made me kind of want me to be like, okay, I need to take a break. It is a really good film. I want to keep rewatching this. I think it is going to go up to a 4.5. It's very close to there right now. It's kind of like the same thing with the album where it's almost at a 4.5. Maybe I should just switch it over the way I did with the album. But I feel like with this, I feel like I need to experience it at least several more times. But it is so good. I think that this film should be talked about more. I think it's sad that more people don't know it.
It's really sad that this director only made this.
Yes, I hope he does make more stuff.
And important to note that he's not just the director, he's also the writer, because I feel like that is such an important aspect that he developed the story from start to finish, essentially.
Well, and I wanted to say that this film is so you, and I don't mean like you are the main character and that's like, yes, I see it, but I also mean that the humor is so you. And the style is so you, and I mean that in the best way possible because I love those elements of it. And that's also why you are such a good friend of mine.
Which one of us are you talking about?
You, Dante, obviously.
Oh, I thought you were talking to both of us. Oh, okay. Because I'm like, all of this is reflective of Brandon as well, I feel. David has a little card that says friendship on it. And then when you flip it to the back, it's that exact speech that he just gave.
Well, yes.
So it's very multi-purpose. He's saying it to both of us.
At the same time, I mean, it helps that we're similar.
Well, it does track for Brandon too. I just feel like it 100% tracks for you with this film because this film is so you. Like, I'm like so you.
I mean, I was going to say the same thing. I had that thought while I was watching it about 10 minutes in. I watched this with both of my parents and they both loved it as well, which I was not expecting. And yeah, about 10 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, this is so Dante. This is exactly what I thought it would be. Even after the twist, I was like, I can see it. I can see how this is like your movie.
My heart just fluttered. It's so nice to hear.
I totally see this movie for you. I feel like we have similar taste in movies, more similar than we do in music. And I would like to say, I'm building up to a big thing, and I'm unfortunately not going to say the number. It is 4.5. But I think when I rewatch this, because I really want to, it will probably become a 5. This is very good. This is up there for one of the best movies we've watched on the podcast. And I had literally no idea what to expect with this. And I think this is almost going to ruin indie cinema for me because I feel like a lot of the times indie movies are not this good. Actually, most of the time, indie movies are not this good, and they kind of lack a cohesive vision, which is the complete opposite of this. From start to finish, this feels like it was perfectly crafted, and it said exactly what it wanted to say, and it had the kind of open-ended ending that I've talked about with David on here that I like, where at the end of the movie, you know how you feel about the movie, and then you don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't like when the whole movie's open-ended and it's just like, what just happened? And then you also don't know what's going to happen in the future. I like to have a bow on the story, which we get with this. You know, the bad guy dies and life is going to, quote unquote, go back to normal. And then you have the open-ended ending of him being like, what, like just the breakdown of what the hell is going to happen next. So I think upon rewatch, which I want to do, that's the other important thing. This isn't just a movie where it's like, oh, I should rewatch this. This is one that I could like genuinely watch again tomorrow because it's that good. So yeah, this is a 4.5 upon rewatch. It probably will become a 5. And then it would knock out Call Me By Your Name in my top 4. That's the last 4.5 that's hanging on.
I actually do have a couple fun facts for that last scene. Adam Brody said that he does not like to cry. He has a hard time doing it, like getting the tears out for emotions, because he's mostly a comedy guy. So he prolonged that final shot for as long as possible until late in production. And he did 3 takes. He did 1 where he couldn't get the tears out, and then 2 where he actually did. He was like, I'm so, like, yes, like I finally got the tears out. It's so tough for me. And then they went to the editing bay, and the editor chose the one where he didn't cry. And he's like, dude, I hate you. I got wet. Like he, in quotes, said, I got wet for that. He's like, yeah, but look, you spit on your dry sob this take. Like when he goes, he spits and it gets caught in the light. He said, that, I love that. So we're keeping that part in. And he was very depressed, but he says it was better for the movie.
Whatever is better for the film.
I think it does too. It's very messy. It's very kid kind of crying, which relates to that second fun fact, where the last line of the script, according to Adam Brody, is he cries like a little boy. I thought that was so sad and so beautiful. And I totally understand why Adam Brody was like 100% in on this movie.
I also want to say, fuck it. I did it to the music. I'm doing it to the movie. It's too good to. I gotta give it a 4.5. I'm moving it up.
Hell
Fuck
yeah.
it.
Well, shit, maybe I should just make it a 5 right now.
Yeah.
I honestly, yeah. I always have this thing where I'm like, I can't rate shit too high because I rate everything too fucking high and I give out too many 5s. But honestly, fuck it. Life is too short. This is a 4.5. I'm sorry. It's got to go up.
I feel like I like this movie more than David does, so therefore
give it a
I'm going to
5.
make it a 5 right now.
Give it a 5. It connected to you on a deeper level.
5.
See, the music was David coded.
Yes.
And this movie is Brandon coded.
Literally.
So we have similar scores for each. I'm really glad that you guys responded to these because I wanted to pick 2 things that I was fully knowledgeable of and 2 things that I know you guys haven't seen or heard. And I'm glad that because there's very little in that Venn diagram. There's not much.
That's true.
So I'm glad you guys like this. It makes me very happy.
You did a great job.
Yeah, I think this is a good pairing as well.
Sure, they're both a little nostalgic and a little depressing, but overall hopeful.
And very like DIY kind of feeling.
In order to contrast Oscar's collab episode, no offense, Oscar, but I chose a very short album and a very short movie. It's like an hour 40 and about 32 minutes. So you could watch me and Oscar's episodes next to each other, and they make about 2 average episodes. Hopefully.
This one is still going to be long, though, just so you're aware.
Ah, damn it.
I mean, it's okay.
All right.
You are definitely more like of a normal length this episode than like some of the, I mean, the other 3 guest episodes we had were all over 2 hours. I don't think this will be over 2 hours, but who knows, you know, when it's all said and done.
I can make it over 2 hours. Let's just keep talking.
Just stretch out those ums.
Exactly. Do we have anything else to say about this film?
Did you guys see the villain coming at all?
No, not at all.
I had no idea who it was going to be.
I think that's exactly how it should have been.
I agree.
It's one of those perfect twists where you can only see it in hindsight. So you're kind of in the mind of Abe, where you make this realization and you go, fuck, it was so obvious from the beginning. Principal only had the codes to the locker. I guess this is full spoilers. You can cut this out if you want. This is at the end of our score, so people can get off.
That's okay. No, this is staying in. Everybody knows that there's spoilers in our podcast.
Only the principal knew the locker codes. The usual like kidnapping MO is that it's someone that the kidnappee already knows. That's why they trust him to get in the car. Of course, it'd be the principal. They kind of treat his character strangely, where he doesn't have a definitive comedic end. He just keeps coming up throughout the story. He's in the beginning, the flashback. He goes to see him in the school to tell him about the overnighters. And it never really ends in a funny way, like your dad's gay guy. That kid just walks off. or the chubby kid who has a crush on Caroline, his whole arc is done when he gets caught being a weirdo in his little sister's room by accident.
And I think that's part of why it works so well.
But I did not see this coming the first time I watched it either, so I'm glad you guys had that same reaction. Did you guys like Caroline? Sophie and Elise? I don't know if you guys have seen Yellow Jacket, but this was like a year before she was on that.
I have actually. I've seen like a season and a half. When she appeared on camera, I was like, wait a second. Because I didn't place her for the first like 5 minutes of her being on screen. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's Yellow Jackets. So yeah, I did recognize her from that. And she's really good too.
There's a lot of actors like that.
I had that with Sarah Sutherland as well, because I had watched all of Veep and I was like, I know she's in this movie, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's her, but she looks really different. And also she was so young in that, like, this is whatever, 10 years later after that show ended.
And yeah, the murdered kid's dad, like, I recognize him right away. I was like, oh, I know him. I don't remember from what specifically, but yeah, he's one of those actors.
I also had that same feeling.
He's in everything.
Well, I think a very big shout out to Canada is due.
Shout out Canada.
For this movie specifically. Shout out Denver as well. You know what?
Hell yeah. Shout out snow. This is a very snow-based episode.
Yes,
it is.
I love snow.
It's coming out in the beginning of January. It is currently snowing here. We're supposed to get about 6 inches tonight, so that's pretty fun.
So is David after that bet.
Amen.
God. I guess the final thing to ask, Dante, is do you have anything to plug? Maybe social media, maybe something you're working on?
I have an Instagram. Well, actually, I have a lot of scripts in development. I have about 3 words per. So look out for that in about 45 years. They will all be done and sent out to producers with a small explosive or anthrax or something. I have an Instagram. It's Koji Nuzuka. I'll spell that out. It's KOJINUZUKA.
We will also link it in the description of the episode.
Thank you very much. Yes, if I get any followers from this, I'll give you $1 each follower.
Nice.
So if anyone's listening and you're incentivized, you want to fund uncultured pop culture, I am your guy.
And would you like to shout out your Letterboxd as well?
Yes, Letterboxd, same username as Instagram, Koji Nuzuka. Please give me a follow. I'm not very funny on there, but I think I watch pretty good movies.
Yeah, you'll find all kinds of stuff that you've never heard of.
Chainsaw Man Reze arc, you'll see that 5 times in a row.
I was going to say, just like Chainsaw Man 5 times.
And with that, I guess now we got to tell the audience that if you want to see what next week's episode is going to be, you should go check out our Instagram, which you can find in the description of this episode. You can also find our link tree there, which will link you to our Letterboxd, our Rate Your Musics. That way you can keep track if you do want to see what we are rating and what we're listening outside of the podcast and watching outside of the podcast. And in case you want to send us shitty little notes about how terrible our scores are, where can they reach us, Brandon?
Well, first of all, you could comment right on this episode if you're listening on Spotify.
True.
Or you can email us at upcpod@gmail.com.
I think that's it.
So I would like to say, before we get out of here, thank you so much, Dante, for coming on here. We would like to have you back. I can speak for myself. I think I can speak for David as well.
You can absolutely speak for me.
Although, who knows?
Because I can't speak at all. So
yeah, exactly. You can't speak at all for other reasons that we won't get into. But yes, this was a lot of fun. I'm so glad you brought this album and this movie, because now David has an indie album that he finally enjoys. And I have a movie that I rated a 5-star, which has only happened 3 times on this podcast before. Kind of incredible.
Thank you for having me. If anyone listening made it this far, please comment in all caps, Dante sucks. Dante space SUX. And then we will know who really listened and you really made it this far.
Dante won't be the only one sucking tonight.
Oh, no, I won't.
On that note, we thank you all
you.
for tuning into the Uncultured Pop Culture podcast, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.